Amara Johnson had 3 seconds to decide. A building was burning. Everyone was running out. A stranger was trapped inside, dying. She was a black waitress who could barely pay rent. He was Korean, dressed in a suit that cost more than she made in 3 months. She didn't know his name, didn't know why he was there, didn't know what saving him would cost her. She ran back inside anyway. That choice destroyed everything. Or maybe it was the only thing that could save her. Flames devour the building. Fire claws through shattered windows, turning evening into hell. Thick black smoke chokes the sky. People scatter across the sidewalk, coughing, screaming, filming with shaking hands. Sirens wail somewhere far away, too far. Amara stands frozen in the crowd, apron still tied around her waist. Her feet throb from a double shift at the diner on the ground floor. Sweat and soot streak her brown skin. Her lungs already burn from smoke. She got out. She's alive. That should be enough. Before we continue, besties, please like and subscribe. It's the simplest way to support this channel and help these stories keep coming. We drop new, emotionally gripping stories every day just for you. And don't forget to comment where you're watching from and what time it is there. I'd love to see how far this story of love and destiny has reached. Then she hears it, banging, dull, weak, rhythmic, coming from inside, somewhere above the second floor, barely audible over roaring flames and chaos, desperate, dying, human. Someone is still in there. Is anybody inside? A man shouts toward the building. No answer. Just fire, just smoke, just people shaking their heads. Some turn away. Others keep their phones raised, recording tragedy for strangers who'll never know the dead person's name. Amara's chest tightens. She thinks of her mother. Hospital machines beeping alone. Being told help came too late. Her hands move before fear catches up. She unties her apron, wraps it around her, mouth and nose. Hey, don't, someone yells. She's already moving. Heat hits her like a wall, thick, suffocating, alive. Smoke stings her eyes instantly. She drops low, crawling forward on hands and knees. Her heart slams violently against her ribs. Hello, her voice cracks. Can you hear me? The banging comes again, closer. She follows it up the stairwell. Each step feels heavier. Flames climb the walls, hungry and relentless. The air burns her throat with every breath. On the 3rd floor, something crashes behind her. Part of the ceiling collapses, wood splintering, embers exploding into the hallway like fireworks. Heat sears the back of her neck. She flinches but keeps crawling. There, a heavy door. Smoke pouring from underneath. The handle burns her palm. Hold on, she screams, coughing violently. I'm coming. She kicks once. Pain shoots up her leg. Twice, nothing. On the 3rd kick, the door splinters open. Smoke rushes out like something alive. Inside she sees him. A man, Korean, lying motionless near the window. Blood streaks his temple. Black suit, white shirt, gold watch catching firelight. Clothes too expensive for anyone in this neighborhood. Too clean, too perfect. None of it matters. He's not moving. Amara crawls to him, shaking his shoulders hard. Wake up, please. Nothing. She hooks her arms under his and pulls. He's heavy. Too heavy. Behind them, another beam crashes down, blocking the doorway completely. The ceiling groans above them. A terrible, final sound. Amara stares at the flames closing in, at the unconscious stranger in her arms, and realizes neither of them is making it out alive. Pain explodes through Amara's shoulders as she drags the unconscious man across the floor. Every muscle screams. Her lungs feel like they're being shredded from the inside. Smoke fills her throat with every desperate breath she manages to steal. She doesn't let go. "Come on," she gasps, tears streaming down her face. "Come on." The man's weight feels impossible, like trying to move a mountain while the world collapses around her. His head lolls back. Blood from his temple smears across the floor. Flames climb the curtains behind them, spreading across the ceiling in bright orange waves. The heat intensifies. Sweat pours down her back, mixing with soot and fear. She pulls harder. The hallway stretches endlessly. What should be 10 feet feels like miles. Her arms shake so violently she can barely maintain her grip. Her knee slams into broken glass, sharp, vicious, and blood soaks through her jeans instantly. She barely notices. Behind them, the apartment's door frame collapses with a thunderous crash. Sparks shower into the hallway. Fire spreads faster now, racing along the walls like it's hunting them specifically. Amara's foot catches on debris. She stumbles forward, nearly dropping him completely. "No," she sobs. "No, no, no." She adjusts her grip, locking her arms tighter under his shoulders. Her back screams in protest. Something in her wrist twists wrong, sharp pain shooting up her forearm, but she ignores it. 3 more feet. 2. The stairwell is right there, but the floor beneath them groans. Wood splinters. The ground shifts. Amara freezes, terror flooding her veins like ice water. If the floor collapses, they're both dead. She looks down at the man's face, peaceful, completely unaware, blood still trickling from his temple. For a split second, she wonders who he is, why he was here, if anyone's waiting for him somewhere. Then she thinks of her mother's last words. "You've got a good heart, baby. Don't you ever lose that." Amara tightens her grip and moves. She doesn't drag him carefully anymore. She hauls him with everything left in her body, ignoring the pain, ignoring the heat, ignoring the voice in her head screaming that this is suicide. 3 more feet. 2. 1. The stairwell appears through thick smoke. She pulls him onto the landing just as the floor behind them gives way, with a deafening crack. A gaping hole opens where they stood seconds ago. Flames roar up from below like something alive and angry. Amara gasps, coughing so violently she nearly vomits. Down the stairs, 1 step at a time. His head bumps against each step. She winces but can't stop, can't slow down, can't think about anything except getting out. Smoke thickens. The world tilts sideways. Her legs wobble. She's not going to make it. She knows it. But she keeps going anyway. Voices echo from below, distant, distorted, desperate. "Someone's coming," a man shouts. Heavy footsteps pound up toward them. Fast, professional. 2 figures in full firefighter gear burst through the smoke. "We got him," one shouts, lifting the unconscious man effortlessly. Strong hands grab Amara's arm. "Come on, let's go." She stumbles down the remaining stairs, barely conscious, legs moving on pure instinct. Fresh air hits her face like a physical slap, cold, shocking, impossibly clean. Paramedics rush forward. Someone wraps a blanket around her shoulders. Another checks her pulse, shines a light in her eyes, asks questions she can't hear over the ringing in her ears. Amara collapses onto the pavement. Her body gives out completely, knees buckling, vision darkening. Across the chaos, through blurring vision, she sees the man being loaded into an ambulance. Oxygen mask, IV lines, strangers in uniforms working frantically. "Is he alive?" she croaks. No one answers. The world spins violently. She tries to stand, to ask again, but darkness swallows her whole. Kang Min-jae opens his eyes to white ceiling tiles and the steady beep of machines. Hospital. He knows this place intimately. Not as a patient, as someone who's sent many people here. His head throbs, his ribs ache with every breath. Oxygen tubes rest beneath his nose. An IV line runs into his left arm. He's alive. That shouldn't be possible. The door opens quietly. 3 men enter, dark suits, careful expressions. They bow, slightly, a gesture of respect mixed with something deeper. Fear. "Boss," the tallest one says softly, "you're awake." Min-jae doesn't respond immediately. He stares at the ceiling, piecing together fragments. Fire, smoke, explosion, pain. Being hit by something heavy before he could escape. Darkness, and something else. A voice, female, desperate, screaming at him through smoke and flames. "Wake up, please." What happened? His voice comes out rough, damaged. The men exchange glances. "There was a fire," the tall one, June, explains carefully. "In the building where you were meeting the informant. 3rd floor. It spread fast. You were trapped." Min-jae's jaw tightens. He remembers now. The meeting. The sudden explosion. Debris falling. Being unable to move. "How did I get out?" Silence. June shifts his weight uncomfortably. "Someone pulled you out, boss." "Who?" Another pause. Longer this time. "A waitress." Min-jae turns his head slowly, ignoring the sharp pain in his neck. Waitress. From the diner on the ground floor. She ran back into the building after everyone evacuated. Dragged you down 3 flights of stairs while the place was falling apart. June's voice carries genuine disbelief. "Firefighters said another 30 seconds and you'd both be dead." Min-jae processes this in silence. Someone saved him. Not one of his highly trained men. Not someone who owed him favors. Not someone seeking reward or protection. A waitress. A complete stranger. Who risked her life for his. "Where is she?" he asked quietly. "Different hospital. Minor injuries. Smoke inhalation. Cuts. Bruises. She'll recover fully." "Name?" June pulls out his phone, checking notes. "Amara Johnson. 27. Works at Mel's Diner. Lives alone about 2 miles from the fireside." Min-jae stares at the ceiling again. In his world, everyone wants something. Loyalty is purchased. Trust is leverage. Kindness is always a transaction with delayed payment expected. But this woman, Amara Johnson, ran into fire for a stranger. Expected nothing. Asked for nothing. Knew nothing about who he was. She saved a man who, if she understood his true identity, would probably cross the street to avoid. For the first time in 15 years, Kang Min-jae doesn't know what to do. He's built an empire on control, on calculated moves, on ensuring every debt is recorded and repaid with precision. But this debt? How do you repay someone for saving your life when they don't even know what they saved? "Find out everything about her," he says finally. Quietly. "I don't want her scared." June nods. "Yes, boss." "And June?" "Yes." Min-jae's eyes harden slightly. "Make sure she's protected. If anyone from Beck's crew finds out she pulled me out of that fire..." He doesn't finish. He doesn't need to. They all know what happens to people connected to Kang Min-jae. Even the innocent ones. Especially the innocent ones. Amara wakes to fluorescent lights and antiseptic smell. Her throat feels like she swallowed broken glass. Every breath tastes like smoke that won't leave. Her body aches in places she didn't know could hurt. Shoulders, back, legs, hands, ribs. She tries to sit up. Pain shoots through her chest immediately. She gasps, falling back against the pillow. Easy. A nurse appears beside her bed, gentle hands guiding her down. "You inhaled a lot of smoke. Your body needs rest. The man, Amara croaks. Is he? Alive, the nurse says, adjusting the IV in her arm. Thanks to you. They said you saved his life. Relief floods through her so intensely, it brings fresh tears. Can I see him? He's in a different facility recovering. But you did something incredibly brave. The nurse's smile is warm but sad. Also incredibly dangerous. You're lucky to be alive. Amara closes her eyes. Lucky. She doesn't feel lucky. She feels destroyed, like she burned up every piece of strength she had, and now there's nothing left but ash. The nurse checks her vitals, makes notes on a chart, then leaves quietly. Amara stares at the ceiling, trying to process everything. The fire, the fear, the impossible weight of a stranger's life in her hands. She wonders if she'll ever forget the sound of those flames. 3 hours pass. Then 2 men appear in her doorway. They don't look like doctors. They don't look like firefighters or police officers. They look expensive, dangerous, wrong. Miss Johnson, the taller one says. His voice is polite but cold. May we come in? Amara's chest tightens. Who are you? We represent the gentleman you saved from the fire. He wanted us to check on your recovery. Make sure you're receiving proper care. They enter without waiting for permission. The shorter one, stocky, with a scar cutting through his left eyebrow, scans the room like he's cataloguing exits. The tall one pulls up a chair beside her bed, sitting with perfect posture. Our employer is very grateful, he continues smoothly. He'd like to express his thanks properly once you've recovered. That's not necessary, Amara says quietly. I just did what anyone would do. Something flickers across the tall man's face. Surprise, maybe disbelief. Most people wouldn't have gone back inside, he says carefully. Most people value their own lives too much. The way he says it makes her skin crawl. I'm fine, she says, trying to keep her voice steady. Really, just tell him I'm glad he's okay. The men exchange a glance she can't read. There's one more thing, the tall one says. The building you both were in, it wasn't an accident. Amara's stomach drops. What? The fire was set intentionally, which means the people responsible might take interest in anyone who was inside that night. He pauses, especially anyone who helped someone they were targeting. The room suddenly feels smaller, colder. What are you saying? Amara whispers. We're saying you might need protection, temporarily, until the situation is resolved. Protection from what? I don't even know who that man is. The tall one leans forward slightly. And it's better if you keep it that way. But ignorance won't protect you if the wrong people start asking questions about who pulled him out. Fear crawls up Amara's spine like ice. This was supposed to be simple. She saved someone. He lived. End of story. But these men, the way they speak, the way they move, the way they watch her like predators deciding if she's prey, tell a completely different story, one she never asked to be part of. What if I refuse protection? She asks. The shorter man finally speaks, his voice gravelly and flat. That would be extremely unwise. It's not a threat, not exactly, but it feels like one. The tall one stands, smoothing his suit jacket. Someone will be in touch. In the meantime, if you notice anything unusual, strangers watching you, unfamiliar cars, anything, call this number immediately. He places a business card on her bedside table. No name, just numbers. They leave as quietly as they arrived. Amara stares at the card, hands trembling violently. What had she done? Amara is discharged 2 days later with prescriptions she can't afford, instructions to rest, and questions no one will answer. She returns to her apartment, A small studio on the fourth floor of a building that's seen better decades. Thin walls, unreliable heating, leaking faucet she's been meaning to fix for months. But it's hers, or it was. Now every shadow feels wrong. Every sound makes her jump. Every footstep in the hallway freezes her in place. She locks the door, fastens the chain, checks the windows twice. Her hands still shake when she touches doorknobs. Her lungs still burn when she breathes too deeply. She tries to sleep. Can't. Every time she closes her eyes, she's back in the fire, smoke choking her, flames roaring, the impossible weight of a stranger dragging her down toward death. On the third night home, someone knocks. Amara's heart stops. "Miss Johnson." A male voice, calm, controlled. "I mean you no harm." She peers through the peephole with shaking hands. A man stands in the hallway, Korean, early 30s, wearing a long black coat. His face is handsome but severe, like he forgot how to smile years ago and never relearned. "Who are you?" she calls through the door. "Kang Min-jae, the man you saved." Amara's breath catches in her throat. She should keep the door locked, should tell him to leave, should call someone. Instead, she opens it. They stare at each other in silence. Up close, he's taller than she expected. His dark eyes study her with unsettling intensity, not threatening exactly, but searching, looking for something she doesn't understand. A small bandage covers his temple where blood had been. Otherwise, he looks perfectly fine. Expensive coat, perfect posture, complete control. "May I come in?" he asks. "No," Amara says immediately. He doesn't look offended. If anything, he seems to respect the answer. "Then I'll be brief. You saved my life. That creates a debt I take very seriously. I don't want anything from you. I know." His expression shifts. Something almost like confusion crosses his face, which is precisely why I'm here. He pulls an envelope from his coat. "This should cover your medical expenses, lost wages, anything you need." Amara doesn't take it. "I didn't save you for money. I'm aware." He studies her like she's a puzzle that doesn't make sense. "Then what do you want?" "I want to forget it happened," she says honestly. "I want your men to stop following me. I want to go back to my normal life." "That's not possible." The words land like stones. "Why not?" Min-jae's jaw tightens slightly. "Because the fire wasn't random. It was meant to kill me. And now you're connected to me, which means certain people will view you as leverage. I didn't ask to be connected to you." "No," he agrees quietly. "You asked for nothing, which is why you don't deserve what's coming." Fear and anger war in Amara's chest. "Then fix it. Make them leave me alone." "I'm trying." Something flickers in his eyes, something almost human. "But until this is resolved, you need protection. Real protection." "From who?" "People who would use you to hurt me." Amara laughs bitterly. "I'm nobody. I work at a diner. I can barely pay rent. Nobody cares about me." "I do." The words are spoken so simply, so directly, they steal her breath. Min-jae doesn't elaborate. He places the envelope on the floor between them. "Keep your door locked," he says. "Don't open it for anyone you don't know. If something happens, anything, call the number my men gave you." He turns to leave, then pauses. "For what it's worth, Miss Johnson, you showed me something I'd forgotten existed." "What's that?" "Proof that not everyone is broken." He walks away, disappearing down the stairwell before she can respond. Amara stands in the doorway, staring at empty space. She picks up the envelope. Inside is more cash than she's ever seen, at once. And beneath it, a handwritten note in precise handwriting. You saved my life. Let me protect yours. K. Amara closes the door, locks it, slides down against the wood until she's sitting on the floor, envelope clutched in shaking hands, and for the first time since the fire, she lets herself cry. The first warning comes 3 days later. Amara is walking home from the grocery store, plastic bags cutting into her palms, when she notices the car. Black sedan, tinted windows, parked across the street from her building. It's been there for 20 minutes. She tells herself she's being paranoid, that not every dark car is a threat, that she's watching too many crime shows. But her hands shake as she fumbles with her keys. The car doesn't move. She makes it inside, locks the door, watches from her window. 30 minutes later, the car is still there. She calls the number from the business card. There's a car outside my building, she says when someone answers. No greeting, no introduction. Black sedan, tinted windows. We see it, the voice responds. Stay inside. Lock your doors. The line goes dead. 5 minutes later, 2 different cars arrive. Men in dark clothes exit. Brief conversation happens on the sidewalk. The black sedan drives away quickly. Amara's phone rings. It's handled, the same voice says. But Miss Johnson, they know where you live now. Her stomach drops. Who are they? People you don't want knowing your name. The second warning comes the next morning. She's opening the diner for the early shift when a man sits at the counter. Korean, expensive suit, cold smile. Coffee, he says. Black. Amara pours it with shaking hands. He doesn't drink it, just watches her. You're Amara Johnson, he says. Not a question. Do I know you? No. But I know you pulled someone very important from a fire last week. His smile never reaches his eyes. That was remarkably brave. Or remarkably stupid. I need you to leave. I'm just having coffee. He slides a photograph across the counter. Beautiful building you live in. 4th floor, right? Fear turns her blood to ice. Before she can respond, the diner door opens. Min-jae walks in. The temperature in the room drops. The man at the counter stands immediately, smile vanishing. Kang. Leave. Min-jae's voice is quiet, deadly. We're just talking. Now. The man drops money on the counter and walks out without another word. Min-jae waits until he's gone, then turns to Amara. Pack a bag. You're coming with me. I'm not going anywhere. They threatened you, in public. That means they're done being subtle. His jaw tightens. Please, let me keep you safe. Amara wants to argue, wants to refuse, wants her life back. But the photograph is still on the counter. Her building, her window, taken from across the street. One night, she says finally. Then we figure out something else. Min-jae nods once. One night. He drives her to a building she's only seen from a distance. Luxury high-rise overlooking the city. Doorman, security. Everything her world isn't. His apartment is on the top floor. Floor-to-ceiling windows. Minimalist furniture. Everything expensive and cold. Amara stands in the middle of his living room. Grocery store bags still in hand, feeling completely out of place. You'll be safe here, Min-jae says quietly. No one gets past security without my permission. How long do I have to hide? Until I end this. And how do you end something like this? He doesn't answer immediately. When he finally speaks, his voice carries something she hasn't heard before. Regret. By making sure they understand that hurting you means destroying themselves. Amara sets down her bags. This is because of me, because I saved you. No. Min-jae meets her eyes. This is because of me, because of who I am, what I've done. He pauses. You're in danger because I exist in your life now. Then maybe you shouldn't. Something flickers across his face. Pain, real and raw. You're probably right, he says quietly. But he doesn't leave, and neither does she. They don't speak for the first 2 hours. Amara sits by the window, watching the city lights below. Min-jae works at his desk, laptop open, phone ringing periodically with calls he answers in Korean. She doesn't understand the words, but she understands the tone, commands, threats, control. When night falls completely, he closes the laptop. Are you hungry? He asks. Not really. He orders food anyway. Thai. When it arrives, they eat in silence at opposite ends of his dining table. The distance between them feels intentional. Can I ask you something? Amara says finally. Min-jae looks up, nods. Who are you? Really? He sets down his fork carefully. What did my men tell you? Nothing specific. Just that you're someone dangerous, someone important. She pauses. Someone with enemies who set buildings on fire. That's accurate. That's not an answer. Min-jae is quiet for a long moment. When he speaks, his voice is flat, factual, like he's reading from a police report. My family brought me to this country when I was 15. My father worked construction. My mother cleaned houses. We had nothing. He pauses. When I was 17, my father was killed over a gambling debt he couldn't pay. The men who killed him were never arrested, never charged. They just continued existing. Amara's chest tightens. I learned something that year, Min-jae continues. The world doesn't care about people like us. People without power, without connections, without money. His eyes harden. So I decided to become someone the world had to care about. By doing what? Everything necessary. The words hang in the air between them. Do you regret it? Amara asks quietly. Every day. His honesty surprises her. But regret doesn't undo what's done. It doesn't bring back the person I was before. You could stop, walk away. From what I've built. From the people who depend on me. He shakes his head. It's not that simple. It could be. Min-jae looks at her for a long moment. Something shifts in his expression. Something vulnerable beneath all that control. You really believe that, don't you? That people can just change, start over. Yes, even someone like me, especially someone like you. He stands abruptly, walking to the window. His reflection stares back, dark suit, perfect posture, shoulders carrying weight she can't see. I don't know how to be anything else, he says quietly. Amara joins him at the window. They stand side by side, not touching, watching the city below. The person who ran into that fire, Min-jae says. The person who dragged a stranger through hell without knowing who he was or what he'd done. That person saw something worth saving. He turns to face her. What did you see? Someone who needed help. That's all. That's everything. Something in his expression cracks. Just slightly. Just enough. No one's looked at me like that in a very long time, he admits. Like I'm just a person. Not a name. Not a threat. Just someone who exists. Maybe that's who you still are, Amara says. Underneath everything else. They're standing closer now. She's not sure when that happened. Min-jae's phone rings. He ignores it. I should answer that, he says. Probably. He doesn't move. The phone stops ringing. 10 seconds of silence. Then it rings again. This time, Min-jae answers. His expression hardens instantly as he listens. When? Pause. How many? Another pause. I'll handle it. He ends the call. "What's wrong?" Amara asks. Minjae turns to her, and for the first time since she met him, she sees something that might be fear. "They've given me an ultimatum," he says quietly. "You or everything I've built." "What does that mean?" "It means I have 72 hours to decide which one I'm willing to lose." The next morning, Minjae's apartment fills with men in dark suits. They speak in rapid Korean. Voices raised, fists slammed on tables. Amara catches her name multiple times, harsh and accusatory. She stays in the guest room, door closed, feeling like the problem everyone's trying to solve. When the apartment finally goes quiet, Minjae knocks softly. "You can come out," he says. She finds him alone in the living room. His tie is loosened. His hair, usually perfect, is disheveled. He looks exhausted. "What did they say?" she asks. "That I'm making a mistake. That protecting you will cost me everything I've spent 15 years building." He pours himself a drink, doesn't offer her one. "That I'm choosing wrong." "Maybe they're right." He looks at her sharply. "You think I should just let them have you?" "I think you shouldn't destroy your life for someone you barely know. I know enough. You know nothing about me." "I know you ran into fire for a stranger," Minjae says. "I know you asked for nothing in return. I know you're terrified right now, but you're still standing here instead of running." He sets down his glass. "I know you're the first person in 10 years who's looked at me like I'm worth saving." Amara's throat tightens. "I'm not worth losing everything over." "That's not your decision to make." "Then what is? Do I get any say in this?" "Yes." He faces her fully. "Tell me to walk away. Tell me you don't want my protection. Tell me to let my people handle this quietly and never contact you again." He pauses. "Say it, and I will." She should say it, should end this before it gets worse. But the words won't come. "I didn't ask for any of this," she whispers instead. "I know. I just wanted to save someone. You did. And now my life is falling apart." "I know." He steps closer. "But I can put it back together. I can make this right." "How?" "By removing the threat permanently." The way he says it makes her stomach turn. "What does that mean?" "It means that I'm going to end this, tonight." "Minjae, they threatened you, Amara. They came to your workplace. They photographed your home. They made you a target because of me." His voice hardens. "That ends now. What are you going to do?" "What I should have done the moment they spoke your name." Fear floods through her. Don't do something you can't take back. "I passed that point 15 years ago." He picks up his coat. "Stay here. Don't open the door for anyone. I'll have men outside." "Wait." He stops at the door. "What if you don't come back?" Amara asks quietly. Minjae turns. For a moment, his expression softens completely. "Then you take the money in the envelope. You disappear somewhere safe. You live the life you were supposed to have before I complicated it." "That's not an answer. It's the only one I have." He reaches into his coat, pulling out a small key. "This opens a safe deposit box. Bank of America, downtown branch. Everything you'd need is inside. New identity, cash, contacts." He places the key on the table, just in case. "Minjae, please." "I need you to understand something," he interrupts. "For 15 years, I've made choices based on power, on control, on survival." He pauses. "But choosing to protect you, that's the first choice I've made in a very long time that actually feels right." Before she can respond, he's gone. The door closes with a quiet click. Amara stands alone in the expensive apartment, holding a key to a life she never wanted. Outside, car engines start. Men shout orders in Korean. And somewhere in the city, a war is about to begin. All because a waitress couldn't walk away from someone who needed help. Amara doesn't sleep. She paces Min-jae's apartment, checks her phone every 30 seconds, stares out windows at a city that looks peaceful and oblivious. 3 hours pass, then 4. No calls, no updates, nothing. At 2 a.m., her phone finally rings. Hello, it's June, Min-jae's associate. I'm outside. He wants you brought somewhere safe. Is he okay? Pause. Just come downstairs. The ride takes 20 minutes. They don't go to a hospital. They go to a warehouse on the waterfront, the kind of place where bad things happen in movies. Amara's heart pounds as June leads her inside. Min-jae stands in the center of the empty space. His suit jacket is gone. His white shirt has blood on it. She can't tell if it's his. His knuckles are split. But he's alive. What happened? Amara breathes. It's over, he says simply. What's over? The threat, the war, all of it. He runs a hand through his hair. I made a deal. They leave you alone, permanently. In exchange for what? Min-jae's jaw tightens. Everything. My territory, my businesses, my position. He pauses. I walk away from all of it. Amara's breath catches. You gave up your entire empire. Yes. For me. For you. She stares at him. This man who commanded fear and respect, who built power from nothing, who made the world care about him through force and control. And he just gave it all away. Why? She whispers. Min-jae closes the distance between them. Because I spent 15 years becoming someone people feared, and in one night, you showed me what it felt like to be someone worth saving. His voice drops. I'd rather lose everything I built than lose the person who reminded me I'm still human. Tears stream down Amara's face. You barely know me. I know enough. He reaches up, wiping a tear from her cheek with his damaged hand. I know you're the only person in a decade who's made me want to be different. What happens now? Now? He almost smiles. Now we figure out who I am when I'm not Kang Min-jae, the man people cross streets to avoid. And who's that? I don't know yet. He pauses. But I'd like to find out, if you'll let me. Amara looks at this man who lost everything and gained something he didn't know he needed. Okay, she whispers. Okay? Okay. 6 months later, Amara unlocks the door to a small apartment in a neighborhood where no one knows their names. It's nothing like Min-jae's penthouse. The walls need paint. The heating is inconsistent. The kitchen is barely big enough for 2 people. But it's theirs. She finds him at the stove, attempting to cook dinner. He's gotten better at it, though better is relative. The smoke alarm only goes off twice a week now instead of daily. How was work? He asks, turning as she enters. Exhausting. Mrs. Chen's granddaughter is getting married, so she spent 2 hours showing me photos. Amara drops her bag on the couch. How was yours? Min-jae works construction now. The same job his father had 20 years ago. His hands are calloused. His back aches. He comes home covered in dust. He's never been happier. Good, he says. We're ahead of schedule on the project. Foreman says I might make crew lead next month. Amara smiles. Look at you. Model employee. Don't get used to it. He plates dinner. Pasta that's only slightly burned. I'm still terrible at taking orders. They eat at a small table by the window. Outside, the city hums with ordinary life. No one watches them. No one threatens them. No one knows who they used to be. Do you miss it? Amara asks quietly. The power, the control, the life you had. Min-jae considers the question carefully. Sometimes, he admits, Not the violence, not the fear, but the feeling of being important, of mattering. You matter now. To who? To me. He looks at her, really looks at her. That's enough. Is it for you? Min-jae sets down his fork. 6 months ago, if you'd asked me that question, I would have said no. That one person's opinion could never replace everything I built. He pauses. But now, yes, it's more than enough. Amara reaches across the table, taking his hand. His knuckles are still scarred from that night, permanent reminders of what he gave up. Do you regret it? She asks. Choosing you over everything else? He shakes his head. Never. Even when you're exhausted and sore and making half what you used, too? Even then. He squeezes her hand gently, because for the first time in 15 years I'm not afraid. I don't have to watch my back. I don't have to sleep with one eye open. I can just exist. As who? As someone trying to be better than he was. He smiles slightly. As someone a very brave woman thought was worth saving. Amara's eyes fill with tears. I didn't save you to change you. I know. That's why it worked. He stands, pulling her up with him. You saved me because you saw someone who needed help. Not a criminal, not a threat, just someone. They stand together in their small kitchen, wrapped in comfortable silence. I never told you, Amara says quietly. But that night, in the fire, I almost gave up. You were so heavy. The smoke was so thick. I thought we were both going to die. What made you keep going? I remembered what my mother told me before she passed, that having a good heart meant refusing to give up on people, even when it's hard, even when it costs you everything. She looks up at him. I didn't know saving you would actually cost me everything, but I'd do it again. Even knowing how it complicated your life, especially knowing that. She touches his face gently, because it didn't just complicate my life, it gave me one worth living. Min-jae pulls her close. You know what the strangest part is? That fire was supposed to kill me. Someone said it specifically to end my life. But instead, it saved you. It saved both of us. Outside, sirens wail in the distance, but they're not for them. Not anymore. They're just two people who found each other in fire and smoke and impossible choices. Two people who learned that sometimes the bravest thing you can do is run toward danger, and the hardest thing is accepting what you find there. But if you're lucky, really, truly lucky, what you find is worth every risk you took to reach it. Fire doesn't always destroy. Sometimes it forges something stronger than what came before.